I have talked to a lot of people in my life about films, shows, and even the storytelling of theme parks. Why? I went to film school. I write scripts in my free time. I have had a job where it was literally my job to write about these things. So it is a passion of mine. I am invested in not just as an audience member. I want to be an active part of the entertainment industry. So I expect a lot from the people who are in those nice, high-up, high-paying jobs. This is a competitive field, and if you are lucky enough to get the job, you better earn it because there are a lot of people who are waiting in line. But when I talk to people who don't have that same personal investment, they usually end up telling me something along the lines of, I just want to enjoy something with my brain turned off. To which I say, that is why the industry feels content to feed you slop. Seriously, we know that the quality of entertainment has been going downhill for the past decade or so. Movies, shows, and even theme park rides aren't quite reaching the level that they used to. Now, you can say that it's just them shifting to meet the needs of a new generation, but that doesn't hold up when you can objectively look at things like story structure. It doesn't matter if you grew up on TikTok or not, a 3-act structure is still going to be more effective in like 99% of stories than the latest trend in story structure that I like to call whiplash. The Acolyte is a great example of this whiplash structure. So if you don't always want super thoughtful, advanced, artsy type entertainment, why hold artists to that standard? Well, I have 2 metaphors that explain it perfectly. I was just recently talking to someone about this, and they were like, why would I care? And I was like, why would you not want people to give you a product that is absolutely tip-top? So I asked them, like, if you go to a doctor because of a head injury and they just say, you're fine, just take this aspirin and go home and don't do any other tests to find out that you, say, have a brain bleed, would you say they're the right person for the job? Would you be okay with them being lazy? They responded by saying, well, it's not nearly that serious. And yeah, entertainment isn't as serious as being a doctor, but what about being a McDonald's employee? If they aren't cooking your food right because they just didn't want to, will you take that seriously? Even for parents who pay their kids to do chores, you're not going to be okay with them just not doing it all the way. I mean, even if you don't pay your kids, if they're just like, oh, I cleaned my room, and they pick one sock up but then leave a whole bunch of clothes out on the ground, you're probably going to say, well, you didn't fully do the job. I remember one time we went to get Wendy's when we were just out late, and it took us an hour to be given the wrong order that was very cold, and we were just stuck in the drive-thru, and they still had the debit card. They weren't giving it back, and we couldn't get anyone's attention, and we were just stuck there watching through the window as they were just all aimlessly walking around because they were all on something. And the point is, why not want a job to be well done? You don't have to push for perfection all the time, but getting the basics right is fair to ask for. If you're paying someone for a job, you don't want them to just decide not to do it because they think you'll pay them the same amount for a half-done job. If it's your job to clean, then you should be cleaning. If it's your job to, hand the food and not hold the cart hostage, then you gotta do that. That is the job. When I was writing about the entertainment industry and stuff as my job, it was my job to write, to have it up to a certain standard, and to have a quick enough turnaround time. That was my job, and so those were the standards that were set for me by the job. It's what I was paid to do. So the next rebuttal is usually, but what if I just don't want to think that much about what I'm watching anyway? So let's think about the phrase junk food entertainment. So what junk food, actual food, do you love? Chips, candies, Oreos, McDonald's, Taco Bell? I want you to think about that food. You probably know that it's not that good for you, but it tastes great. Maybe it has a lot of calories, sodium, sugar, whatever. Maybe it gives you a stomachache. Yeah, I know that happens to me. That's why I usually stay away from my chosen junk food. Now, I want you to imagine that you could have that junk food, but it's actually good for you. The taste doesn't change, the texture is the same, and the price does not go up. Nothing is different on your end, other than now it's a healthy food. You don't get the stomachache or the sugar crash or anything like that, but you get nutrients and feel good after eating it. If you could choose to have the unhealthy version of that food or the healthy version, where again, the only thing that changes for you is the technical stuff, not the taste or price or anything, which would you choose? Now, unless you want to try and be unpredictable, you're probably going to opt for the healthy version. So if the only reason you are being sold the unhealthy version is that the people making it just didn't want to put in the effort to make things better, would you be very happy with them? If it was going to be the same cost for them to make it, and it was going to be literally just the same amount, it's just that they wanted to be lazy and just skip a step or something like that, would you really be happy with that they made junk food instead of just putting in that little bit of extra effort and actually made it a healthy food? So if you're wanting to have your junk food entertainment, why consume the unhealthy version of it? You can have simple movies done well, and movies that aren't trying to be simple that you can watch without thinking about it too much. There are plenty of movies that I like to watch for movie night when I want a really good story that I will also be happy to put on in the background while I'm doing chores. I can simply sit back and enjoy some of these movies while also being able to engage with them and have it be good too. If you say you will accept the bare minimum from entertainment companies, expect that they will always want to give you the bare minimum. I've mentioned theme parks a few times here, and that's partly because Disney has been failing the storytelling of their parks. Tiana's Bayou Adventure has almost no story. The story structure of it is essentially just a flat line. It's dead. The change to make the bride in the attic of the Haunted Mansion sad and depressed means that we go from a party that shows you that death doesn't have to be lonely and sad, and we go from that to someone who is forever lonely and sad because of death, to then an even bigger party. That's a camel hump of a story. Why are they putting a Pixar Cars ride in Walt Disney World in their Frontierland? It's going to back up to their Haunted Mansion and their Big Thunder Mountain. And their Frontierland, it's going to be made up of a Wild West train ride, a regular train ride, a Louisiana bayou in the 20s, and a modern-day humanoid car racing in the desert. What story is that? Why do studios want to keep giving you remakes of things that you've already seen and loved? Because they think you'll be happy with it and give them money for their half-done job. The leaked concept for Wish is way more loved by the people who saw it than the final movie ended up being. Skeleton Crew felt like it wasn't a part of Star Wars, and it didn't really belong in that story. But why should they question those basic storytelling errors if they think that Slop will be treated just the same as a well-crafted story? We should absolutely want the people in these high-paying competitive positions to earn their job. The standard for being a storyteller should be that you have to at least consider the most basic principles of storytelling. I'm serious. So many of these stories are not, they don't have story structure at all. So to the audience, I say that it's okay for you to want your junk food entertainment to be good for you, because it really is as simple as the people who are making it just need to put in a little more effort. And to the people who have these jobs, I say, if you aren't going to at least care about getting the basics right, then please do the responsible thing and leave. There are artists out there that are ready to work hard and earn that position.